Hi, this is Misha, and we're just out shooting on this very nice Saturday, and my friend here has a Saiga 410. Just took it out, shooting it in the woods, because 410s and woods go together. Plus, we were worried about being assaulted by squirrels, so it seemed like a really good thing to use. It's been modified from its original hunting, sporting configuration. These all come in with threaded muzzles. This has a phantom flash hider on it. Muzzle brake. This is the original stock grip. We've got an SGM 10 round mag in these. They also make 15 for the 410s. We have a Tapco G2 trigger group, very standard. US pistol grip and a US AK47 style buttstock. This one's kind of neat though because it has a little rubber recoil pad on it that actually fits with the whole aesthetic of the gun. It's kind of nice to have a rubber pad. What I like about it is it helps it really stick to your shoulder real well, like real firm grip. This whole conversion package came from Carolina Shooter Supply, CSS, and they even supply little polymer faux rivets to fill in the original trigger group holes that are left over. So, easy way, that way you don't have to worry about riveting or welding. Kind of nice. The Saiga series has been banned from import for just under 3 years now. They started coming in the early to mid-90s. I think the earliest ones I've seen were around 94, 95, but you didn't see a lot of them until around 2000. The 410s, they would do them with Monte Carlo style stocks with the trigger group pushed back here to the rear and a hunting style stock. Now the handguard and all this would be the same. This is the sporting style. And they would do them originally in the 7.62 by 39, 223, 308, 12 gauge, 20 gauge, and 410. Later they would expand the line a bit, but that's what they launched with, and for a long time, at least over a decade, that's what was coming in. Several people imported these, RAA, EAA, Century had some too, Arsenal got into the game towards the end. But these were really the first Russian-built Kalashnikov pattern guns to come into the U.S. Again, when they came in, they were in sporting configuration. They had 5 round mags, they had simple muzzle nuts on the barrel, and they had the sporting stock. But a lot of people converted these, especially in more recent years, back into military configurations. Probably the most famous conversion would be the Arsenal SGL-21 and SGL-31 series. Very well done conversions. But the shotguns received conversions too. They are fun and reliable. Just, plinking guns. Now the Saiga style are sold in Russia as well on the civilian market. And they are very popular hunting and even self-defense and occasionally police-type guns. The 410 in more of a military configuration is actually called the Cossack over there, and it's kind of popular in the eastern part of Russia once you get into the deeper steppes going out towards Siberia. It's a lightweight, fast-firing shotgun, so good for self-defense against wild animals and the like. So, just kind of neat guns. No real military pedigree, but they are based on the Kalashnikov system. It is a long stroke gas piston with a rotating bolt. It takes standard AK trigger groups. That's why the Tapco G2 fits. And US companies like SGM have made extended mags for these, which is nice. You can get out there and really shoot 410. And some of these will have adjustable gas systems, some won't. The 410s, not as much. Sometimes this one's got a plug on it. The 12 gauges are more easily adjustable. You can actually do those by hand, but the 410s are more set, especially the Arsenal converted 410s, which are called the SGL-41. Then we share these. Like I said, these were banned from import in 2014. It's actually kind of a misunderstood ban. That year, that was right after Russia had got up to a bunch of nonsense with the Crimea and Ukraine. And it wasn't a ban on firearms. It was actually a sanction. President Obama signed a sanction on Russian companies, and there were several listed. Essentially, all these companies that were sanctioned against were either owned by the Russian government or owned by individuals who had a vested interest in them that were in the government. You know, they were basically tied to the Putin regime. And so the sanctions said that American companies could no longer do business with them until Russia straightened up and flew right and basically quit doing things that it was doing. So it wasn't really strictly a gun ban. In fact, the guns being banned, the Saigas, were a very small part of the overall ban. It hurt other industries as well, but then again, it's international politics for you. But that's what happened. The sanction, the ban, is still in place today, 2017. It was specifically on Kalashnikov concern guns, which included Izhevsk, Izhmash, and that's why the Saiga ended up no longer being allowed into the country after 2014. Now, a lot of distributors, a lot of importers had a bunch of these already in inventory in warehouses, and it was still okay to sell those. So you would see a lot of new old stock type Saigas being sold off as late as, early last year. But now those are all gone, and guns like this, the 410s and the 12 gauges and whatnot, are becoming quite desirable and actually being hard, if impossible, to find truly brand new. Most of the ones you find now are going to be on the secondary market, and they're going to be used. It is some interesting history. I really do hope one day the U.S. and Russia can kind of get back to better relations. I have a vested interest in that happening, but until then, this is where we're at. So I thought we would just share a civilian Russian sporter type Saiga shotgun. It was very reliable. We had no real difficulties. And it's been very reliable for a good number of years. Nice trigger on this too, by the way. Anyway, just a short little video sharing something kind of neat. If you have any questions or comments, we'd welcome them below. If you like the video, please click. And we really appreciate you tuning in. This is Misha, and we will catch you next time.